Hey gaming crew, welcome to my top 3 games of May 2018. If you'd like to listen to the previous month's podcast, you'll find the link in the description below. Please note, this is my top 3 list out of all the games I played throughout the month. It does not include games that I played before 2018. The criteria I used is arbitrarily ranked with an arbitrary rating system and solely reflects my preferences. If you have a list of games that you enjoyed, that's great. Let me know in the comments below. If you think I'm wrong about a game I like and that I should have liked something else, please move along. This is my list and not yours. And with that, let's get going with May 2018. Space, one of my favorite gaming frontiers. Science fiction, actually. And a tile-laying game that represents the building of a space station? Pure awesome in my book. The game is Among the Stars. Among the Stars is a game designed by Vangelis Bagiartakis, please forgive my pronunciation, and published by Artipia Games. It supports from 2 to 4 players aged 12 or older and lasts 30 minutes. First of all, correction. The game takes quite a bit longer than 30 minutes, perhaps 20 minutes per player involved, especially if they're new. It can add another 5 to 10 minutes based on how many expansions you've added to the game. That said, this is a wonderful game of building a space station where you get your rooms through card drafting. The basic game doesn't have much more than build a station, draft the cards, win the game. But there's still strategy and planning in there. With the more advanced rules, you also have asymmetric player powers, fighters, and a few other enjoyable bits of gameplay. Everyone starts with a power plant, and you have to place your drafted card, or discard the drafted card for 3 credits, after paying for its cost and any energy requirements, 1 or more energy cubes from your power plant. You play cards adjacent to each other in such a way that any energy available from the power reactor can reach the newly added room. The new room must be within 2 tiles of the main reactor or power reactor. You then gain the victory points on the room and execute any immediate ability on the card, if there is one. You can always opt to build a power reactor by discarding your chosen card and paying 1 credit. The reactor and the main reactor comes into play with 2 power cubes on it. But be warned, power reactors are limited, and if they run out, you must choose to play the card in your hand or discard it for credits. At the end of the game, after the 4th round, players gain additional points based on any objectives that are met. Cards with delayed abilities that grant victory points, 1 point for every reactor that does not contain energy cubes, and 1 point for every 3 credits remaining. Objectives are part of the advanced game and can only be claimed once. If 2 or more players tie for an objective, then nobody gains the bonus. This is a great game that replaces Carcassonne for me. While I enjoy playing Carcassonne with new players who are getting into the hobby, I find that Among the Stars provides a much more meaty experience over the older game. I highly suggest you give the game a try if you haven't played it yet. Number 2 this month is a farming game. Wow, I never thought I'd say that since I quit playing Farmville. In any case, it's a tableau building game where you grow crops to sell at market. Oh, you thought I meant that farming game. It has some really fun ways to use cards as you add them to your player board. Each card has a different function based on which side of the board to which it's been added. If it's not Agricola, then what is it? La Granja. La Granja is a game designed by Michael Keller and Andreas Audendahl. It's published by Stronghold Games, supports from 1 to 4 players aged 12 or older, and lasts from 90 minutes to 120 minutes. One of my crew introduced me to this game. He said that since it looked like I enjoyed playing games with high complexity, worker placement, and multiple uses for cards, that I would probably enjoy playing this one. He was right. I really enjoyed figuring out which cards gave me the best advantage, dollar for dollar, based on where I placed them. Did I want occupations, crops, income? How many goods did I want to ship out, and where I should place my shops in the market? The kicker is that you have 6 rounds with 4 phases in the round in order to do what you need to do in order to win the game. It was a lot to take in. But I persevered and learned how the game worked. It's now one of the games on my wish list and one of my top games for May. In fact, there's one game that beats it. We once again take a trip to space. We're a space dock that is taking care of ships and then sending them out on patrol in the gray inky black. It's a matter of organizing where your ships are, because it matters on other players' turns in addition to your own. This game is Space Base. Space Base is a game designed by John D. Clare and published by AEG. It hosts from 2 to 5 players, age 14 or older, and lasts 30 to 75 minutes. Wow, oh wow, this game is fast. The time definitely falls into that range, excluding setup. There's only one issue I have with the game, and that's the size of the cards. It's understandable why these cards were made to be very narrow, but trying to find sleeves that fit puts you at a dead end. There are sleeves I've found since then, by the way. The cards are very unique. However, if the cards weren't this thin, they would take up a huge amount of space on the table, and with up to 5 players, that's a lot of space eaten up. Each turn, the active player rolls 2 dice and decides whether they want to assign the combined total of the dice to a single ship or each die individually to 1 or more ships that are docked on their player board. So, if the active player rolled a 5 and a 6, they could place the dice on 11, or a die on 5 and a die on 6. If you happen to roll doubles, say 2 2s, then you can place the dice on 4, which is the sum of both of the 2s, or you can place them on 2 and 2. Yes, you can activate the same ship twice. Once you've assigned your dice, you take the action on the card since you've activated the ship. This can range from gaining money to gaining victory points, from gaining income increases to gaining ships from the market area for free. There are a lot of different special abilities, and some of them can be kind of confusing. But once you figure out what the icons mean and what the ships do, it's a lot easier to get through the others. In addition to this, all the other players may use the dice to activate any of their ships that are deployed in the same combination the active player did, or a different one. It's their choice. You know if the ship is deployed if 1, it's not on top of your player board, 2, if it's tucked under the player board's top, and 3, if you can see just the red peeking out the top of your board. Whether you buy a new ship from the market by spending resources, you have to deploy the ship that matches the new ship's number. The old ship is flipped so the bottom is now the top, and it's slid under the player board, or under any card already there, so only the red portion is seen. In this way, players begin to do something on every turn after they buy new ships and replace the old ones. The new powers shown on the red part of the card are usually less potent than when the ship was moored and docked. There are some cards that need to be charged up in order to use them. The first time their number is rolled, you add a cube to the card in a particular space. The next time that ship is activated, you can use the cube to take the action listed in its power. That is, so long as the power only requires 1 cube. There are some that require more of them. These cards are a bit more powerful than the others, which is why the charging mechanism helps balance the game. Because all players have something to do on every turn, active or not, the game is sped up pretty quickly. Or, it feels that way. It's not like Machi Koro, where you either get something or you don't. In most cases, you're going to be able to do something on every turn. This is a fabulous and inexpensive game that replaces Machi Koro for me. If we're going to play a game in the dice placement genre where you're manipulating your tableau, Space Base is it. Hands down, every time. That is, until a new game comes along that scraps this one. And there you have it, the top 3 games I played in May 2018. I hope you enjoyed this podcast and that I may have inspired you to play or buy one or some of the games I've mentioned here. Look for the next top 3 very soon. Until then, game on. And as always, this is Excalibur, and I am out.